Alright everyone, it's always funny when people fight on Twitter because that's basically all Twitter is good for. It's like Tumblr, the only reason it existed was porn. That's why Tumblr is rarely used now. The only reason Twitter exists is for people to fight, which is why if Dorsey goes ahead with his plan to stop people from following individuals and start following like webs of ideas and removes the ability of people to coordinate really, yeah, it'll die off as a platform. Dorsey's going to lose billions of dollars and be funny. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez apparently blocked the Daily Caller the other day. She blocked them specifically after getting into it with, like, I guess their executive producer or something, with regards to the new Green Deal and climate change and stuff. And her original post was like, the Republicans want to rant about communist cow farts. They'd rather talk about that than the fact that climate scientists agree we've only got 12 years before we're doomed. Now, first and foremost, let me point out she is wrong. She is factually wrong. Climate scientists agreed, up until about a half a decade ago, that we were already very close to the point of no return based on temperature and CO2 metrics. We already passed the point of no return. The reason why they keep extending it and saying, no, now it's 12 years. When we hit that point and we haven't been completely flooded out and we're not all dead, they'll say another 12 years or 20 years or something. And this will keep going forever. Even if the climate started to cool, like you had a global median temperature plummet like a rock, they would still blame human industry. Oh, see, the climate change. Well, yeah, of course, the temperature's going to fucking change over time. You simply need to show, yes, we can prove 100% it is predominantly or solely anthropogenic in form. That's the threshold I don't think that they've actually gotten to. And they haven't. They keep making all these wild guesses about when there will be no snow or polar bears or the CO2 level chokes us all to death or something like that, and they never seem to come true. Yes, sorry if I'm a little bit skeptical of some of these claims. Sure, there's climate change. Am I particularly worried about it? No, I'm much more worried about the pandemics that you're ignoring. Or nuclear proliferation, things that are tangibly, provably, demonstrably dangerous to humanity. But anyway, getting off the topic of AOC not knowing what the fuck she's talking about with climate change, because she can't even get it straight with regards to those that accept it as true and a problem. She blocks the Daily Caller. Apparently, the Daily Caller then basically posted a video clip of her talking about the time that the new Green Deal was rolled out, because it literally does involve communist cow farts. See, she's trying to say that the GOP is obsessed with an issue that she herself in the new Green Deal brought up. Now, she blamed a staffer and said, well, this was an unvetted sort of a demo copy. It wasn't meant for the public. He pressed the wrong button. He had a bad day. That's bullshit. It was very strategic, cold, and calculating when AOC's people did this. I'll tell you what it really was. It was A/B testing. It was a calculated move to see how the public would react to the content in raw form. Therefore, then you release the refined form later after scrubbing what makes them particularly angry. You see what energizes people, what ends up in the meme sphere in a viral fashion. That was the whole point. Very brilliant strategic move. I have to assume AOC herself did not think of that one. I have a feeling that Zhenk's people probably were behind that. Some of these other people that drafted her in the first place as the actress that she is within the political arena, they were the ones responsible for it. She can't even get into a dust-up with the Daily Caller without blocking people. So she blocks them. The reason why is because on that thread, she didn't want people to see the truth, which is that, yes, indeed, hey, AOC, your own campaign, your own staff are the ones that brought up the issue of cow farts being a problem, connecting it to climate change, blah, blah, blah. Now, that's not 100% wrong. According to ecological science as is, yes, cow farts releasing a huge amount of methane. It is worse than CO2 emissions. The cattle of this world collectively, methane is a much more much more of an effective greenhouse gas than CO2 is. Everyone keeps talking about CO2. Liquefy it and inject it in the ground. Make biochar to sequester carbon and stuff like that. It's like, okay, my garden loves the biochar, but I don't think you'd want to do it on an industrial scale. It'd be kind of difficult. And the thing is, though, she's the one that brought it up. And by the way, that wasn't even the most nutty provision of the new Green Deal. The most nutty part was the idea of getting rid of planes altogether and building trains through the Atlantic. See, the one problem is due to seismic shift, that may not work for very long. Maintaining tunnels of that length, are you going to put them underwater or are you going to have a big-ass bridge above water? Or is it going to have like flotation devices so the train can just go seamlessly across? Now, while it would be cool to have a flotation train going across the Atlantic covered in solar panels to slowly churn it along with a bunch of paddle wheels, like a steampunk fucking utopian future, that's a really cool idea, but eliminating plane travel, yeah, I don't think it's going to work anytime soon. People kind of like to fly. It's certainly quicker, be cheaper. You know, your solar-powered steampunk ocean train sounds like a cool idea until the next hurricane comes through, I guess. Sorry, all trips to Europe have to be delayed by 3 days. Man, this happens like 5 or 6 times a year because there's nothing else to be done. Sorry you got stranded in Iceland during the hurricane. There's nothing we can do about it, though. The train broke down. The paddle wheel fell off into the ocean. Oh, man, that would be so funny. Or the provision of getting rid of all fossil fuel within, what was it, 10 or 20 years? But yes, that's really going to happen. See, how's your windmill factory going to operate without the fossil fuel to power it? Because she's also talking about getting rid of all nuclear. Now, I'm not a huge advocate of nuclear energy either. There are problems with nuclear that are not experienced by other fuel sources, and I know that there are a lot of nuclear advocates out there that get very, very irate when I point this out. But it is true, if you wanted, more of the green energy stuff in the future, nuclear has got to be a stopgap. If you wanted to eliminate coal and oil tomorrow, the only choice you'd have is more nuclear. There is no green energy option. We don't have battery technologies that are capable of operating like solar vehicles and shit, or even solar mass transit efficiently enough. You would need more nuclear. You'd need more electricity. You'd have to have wired tram systems and maglevs and shit like that. It'd be pretty cool. I think I like just using a regular car I can drive myself. I don't even want an autopiloted car. I think the idea of an AI driving my car is terrifying to me. No, thank you. I'll stick with the ability to steer out of the way of oncoming objects if necessary. I think it's a bad idea to let robots drive you around. Unless they happen to be, wearing robotic mini skirts and it's like, something from Blade Runner or something. Okay, that kind of stuff. Replicants are okay with me. Getting off topic there. But here's the problem for a lot of politicians. It's just like sort of like you notice like with Beto's haircut or Elizabeth Warren's cooking show there. They come off as cringy. Now AOC has had the same thing happen. The Democrats especially are having a very, very difficult time transferring to the online community, because they're like fish out of water. AOC saying, "What's a garbage disposal? Wow, I just realized I have this switch here. I never saw one before." It's like, what are you doing? Why would you put that on a stream and then you expect not to have people laughing at you? It's like if you laugh at her, you get called a sexist by her pig-headed fans, and it's very funny. But this is even more comical, because the thing is, people who have been on the internet all along, sort of born and raised in it, especially content creators, we have thick skin. If I put a video on there, there'll be people who will down thumb it without watching it. There are people who will say crazy shit in the comments. There are people who will post shit on other sites about how stupid I am and how ugly I am. It's just the way the things work. AOC, though, can't take the heat and should maybe get out of the fucking kitchen. I mean, she can't deal with the Dailycaller posting essentially an article that references her own fucking statement on the subject. When it's pertinent to the conversation, it's not off topic. It's not like, hey, here's a compilation of top 10 times AOC was cringy, or here's boobs jiggling or something. It wasn't anything like that. It was pertinent to the conversation being had at the time, and she still blocks them. She or one of her staffers or something like that. Unbelievable. And this is a person that would really like to be in high-level politics and sort of wants to run the Democrats. It's very funny, though, when the neoliberals take her down a peg and make her look like a little girl. It's kind of funny. When Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi are laughing at you, you're a laughable individual. Because, I mean, there's geriatric old cringy ladies themselves, so it's a little bit of a problem. That's about all. Peace out.